So as you know, one of the things that I'm really crazy about this bike is just how good the tank and fenders and all are paintwork wise. In fact, I took this tank into the Harley dealer there, and the guy that runs the service department offered me $750 just for this tank because it's just perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my polishing tools and stuff out, and I'm going to buff this tank out and some of this front fender just to show you how damn good it's going to look. All right, so detailing and really making your motorcycle look good is actually a skill that's acquired and an art in its own right. It takes a lot of different products. I've got about 6 more that I'm going to use. I don't think 6. I'm going to use 4 more. A lot of microfiber towels and a big old polisher. So let's see how this comes out. So first thing I'm going to use is stuff called Quick Detailer. It's just a general cleaner. It'll get just, you know, the surface grime and stuff off. It's simply, I'm going to spray it on and wipe it off. All right, now that I've cleaned it with the Quick Detailer, all just the surface dirt from setting in a garage and stuff is gone. It's clean. If you look real closely, you can see some minor micro scratches. This tank is in amazing condition, right? There is only, where is it? One little chip right there, and I'll make that disappear. Thing is, if you feel the surface of the tank with your bare fingers, you can feel a little bit of roughness, all right? And what that's caused from is just years of like rain and stuff, with acid rain and little bits of pitch and other stuff in it. So I'm gonna get a thing called a clay bar, and that clay bar, what it does is gently pull all the little pieces of grit and stuff out of the paint. So that'll be the next step. All right, now that I have it clean, basically, the next thing I'm going to do is use this clay bar kit. And this is a special type of clay that I'll use in conjunction with the Quick Detailer. And I'll try and show you how it works, but it's going to be kind of hard to do, actually do it and show you. But what the clay does is it grabs onto micro particles of pollutants and pulls them out of the paint safely, all right? This is something you do maybe once every year or two. I'm going from the very beginning to the end, so you probably never have to do this, but the results are amazing. Once you feel how rough the surface is with your hand, and after you clay bar it, it basically feels like it has oil on it. It's so smooth. So hang on a second. Okay, what I've done is I formed this clay into like a little pancake, and then I sprayed a bunch of Quick Detailer QD on your tank. Now all I do is take this clay bar, and I don't push really very hard at all. I just go around in swirly circles. So I'm going to do that to the whole tank, and I'll show you the result. I finished clay barring the tank. You really can't see any difference in it, but you remember this clay was just as white as paper, right? That's how much pollutants, micro pollutants, pitch, other things that it pulled out of the paint. If you don't use a clay bar, you'll never get that out no matter what you do. The tank right now feels smoother than glass. Pretty cool, huh? Your clay bar kit's about $25. It's not cheap. And what it comes with is a little plastic box, and you want to keep your clay in there. I'll put that in a baggie a little bit later, but for right now I'm just putting it so it doesn't get any more dirt or crud on it. Next thing we're going to use is polishing compound. Now, if you see, there are little bitty tiny swirl marks and scratches in there. You can barely see them. I can only see it if I have real bright light. But this stuff, along with the buffer here, you're going to take all those scratches out. So that's the first step. All right, what I've done is I've taken the microfiber pad off of my polisher and replaced it with, basically it's a terry cloth pad. And we want the terry cloth pad because it has a little bit more grit and will help cleaning. Now, you don't have to do this. You can easily use one of these hand applicators, right? I have a ton of these. But the first time I do something like this, I like to use the orbital polisher because it's a little bit more aggressive. So all I'm going to do is take this polishing compound, squirt some on the tank, and then I'm going to polish it out with the polisher. So when you're using a polishing compound or rubbing compound, you want to do little sections at a time, not too big of a section because you don't want the other stuff to dry. This is on there and it's a little bit damp, and I've polished it, so now I'm going to wipe it off. The first part of your tank is always going to be the top part right around in here, because that's where people sit and they put things on it. Now you can't see it, but if I look up in here, there's not a scratch left. But down here, there's still a little bit, you can see a little bit of scratching. You pretty much can't see that with your naked eye, but I can because I have the light shining right. So what I'll do is I'll work on that a little bit more. All right, I've finished using the polishing compound on your tank, all right? Then I clean it all off again real well with the quick detailer, the cleaner. Now, if you were to look at this tank, you would just be amazed. I can literally see myself. There you go, I can see myself in the tank now, right? And that's cool, most people are happy with that. But in the detailing world, there's a saying, shine without depth is useless. So now I'm going to start applying waxes. The first wax I apply is this Ultimate Paste Wax. It has a lot of chemicals in it. One, it has oils that'll bring the black out in the paint better, but mostly it has like ultraviolet prohibitors and other stuff like that to protect your paint, and that's why you wax your paint. After I wax it with that, I'm going to wax it with this gold carnauba wax. And carnauba wax gives it this huge depth look, so stand by. Oh, and the same thing goes for waxing as anything else. I'll do it in sections pretty much, all right? So when you put the wax on, you use the applicator that comes with the can of wax. It's made specifically for that wax. And when you put it on, you actually, you apply quite a bit of force, all right? You want to work that wax in. And once you got it good, you always want to do it around your gas cap here, because that's you get gas out on your paint. And once you got it on, you let it set and dry until it develops a little bit of a haze, okay? That lets all the oils and emollients into the paint. And you see I've switched the pad on my polisher to a pad that's used to take the wax off, all right? Later on, I'll put a pad on that's just for buffing. Okay, as you see, I have the whole tank waxed now, and there's no such thing as putting too much wax on. There is putting too little wax on. Go over and over it, rub it, because in the wax is where the polishing compound is a stronger abrasive. In the wax is a very fine abrasive, so you want to work that in to help clean what you can off and work those oils and chemicals into the paint to bring out the color of the paint. All right, it's dried to a light haze. It's not dried hard. You don't want to let it dry too hard, but you don't want it to be wet. I got to have some drink. So now I'm going to cut the wax off with the polisher. All right, so I've stripped that wax off with the polisher. Now I'm going to go and lay the final coat of wax on with the carnauba wax. When you do this, you want to wear gloves if you can, because you don't want the oils from your hands getting on the paint or on the surface until you have your final coat of wax on. All right, so the carnauba wax, it doesn't do any cleaning, because the wax you put on below it, the high-tech wax, is what cleaned it all. Carnauba is just for shine, all right? And you want to slather it on thick like a black girl's booty. And unlike the other high-tech wax, you want to let this dry real good. You want a good layer of wax to work with. Next thing I'll do is I'll strip it off with this again. But once that's done, then I'm going to use a real soft wool buffer to really bring the shine out. So this needs to set for about 10 minutes to dry. The cool thing about carnauba wax that the other waxes don't give you is you can tell when you need to wax it when the water stops beating up, because water will beat up on carnauba wax and it'll just run off of regular wax. So when your tank stops beating up from water, well, you just hit it with some wax again. All right, now that's dried to a good haze. I'm going to use that just to take the rough part off. I don't want to take all the wax off with it. All right, so now I've just used that microfiber cloth to take like the top haze off. There's still a real thick layer of wax on there, which is what I want, and I'm letting it dry a little bit more. And I switched over from the microfiber to a pure lamb's wool pad for my polisher. Now, the way this works is the polisher, this pad, actually creates heat and it slightly melts the top layer of wax, and then it immediately hardens up again, and that's what gives you the real deep, pretty shine. We're almost done, only 2 hours into it. And there you go, sweetie. That tank looks better than it did brand new, I'll guarantee you that. Now, all the stuff I did, you'll never ever have to do to this tank again. This is something that I learned to do back a while when I was probably 32, 33. I got really into car detailing. And this is the kind of stuff they do for show cars before they go in a show. So probably 1 out of 1,000 people have ever done this to their motorcycle. But now that it's done, you don't have to worry about it. The most you'll have to do is clean it with some QD and hit it with some carnauba wax. It looks just frigging amazing. The paint looks a mile deep. You should be loving this. It is something else.